is my channel Evolve with Monette. Today I am here with Dr.Olson, who has been fantastic. You guys have heard me talk about my story regarding my not only near-death experience, but the whole ordeal I went through last year. I filmed a lot through it, and Dr. Olson was one of the fine physicians who took incredible care of me and has continued to take care of me as I have rehabbed in the subsequent year. Now, we had a really interesting thing happen, which is at the end of one of my visits here, usually one of the nurses will walk me to the front. I'll get an appointment. I go on my way. Dr. Olson goes to do his paperwork and back to his office. But he just so happened to walk me down the hallway. And as we got to the top of the hallway, it was kind of the end of the night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the lights were dim. And it was an incredible experience because he stopped and he looked at me and he said, you know, it looked a lot like this when I took my daughter to heaven. Now, there's some synchronistic things that have happened that I want to share with you. One, I didn't know, but tomorrow is the daughter that he took to heaven's birthday, which is...
No, it was yesterday.
Yesterday, excuse me. So sorry. Yesterday was her actual birthday, we've been literally talking about doing this for a long time since that moment happened, but the schedules aligned. Dr. Olson's also the most fashionable doctor. We just happen to have our purples on. His sock game is on point too. Pink suede shoes. You guys can't beat it. But I wanted him to tell you about his story because he said specifically that he was guided to come back here to share this. Is that correct, Dr. Olson?
Yes, it is.
All right, so please take it away.
Okay, well, it happened on 7/57, and it was raining, pouring out and everything, and we were driving actually home. And when we came out, driving on US 1, then somebody pulled out of Magnolia, shoved water into my car, and caused me to spin around out of control.
Right.
And we hit the lamppost that was out there on the corner there. And I remember looking in the car and seeing my body and my daughter's body and going, oh, this is not good. And I heard my daughter behind me go, hey, Daddy, let's go to the light. And I turned around and all of a sudden it wasn't raining and pouring anymore. And we weren't on asphalt, we were on soft grass, and there were elm trees and oak trees, butterflies and birds, and some dogs running around in the distance. And I knew some of them from when I was a kid.
Guys, you listening? He knew some of the pets. For you pet lovers out there, he knew some of them from when he was a kid.
And so we kept on walking down the path. The grass was soft under our feet, and the sky was blue, really this beautiful blue with puffy white clouds, and the aroma was to die for. And so we just kept on walking and walking, and I was holding my daughter's hand, and she goes, Daddy, this is like the Garden of Eden. And I said, sure is. And it sure did feel like it. And so then we came up to this gate that was single hinged on my left-hand side as I was looking at it, and it opened inward. And as we came up to it, it opened up. But there was no fence on either side. So I'm going, that's weird having a gate here with no fence on either side. But for some reason I knew I couldn't walk around it.
Right.
And so I let my daughter walk through, and I look back and go, okay, I guess this is the way it's going to be. And so as I was entering through the gate closed on me, smash, I'm going, okay.
Pay attention to this, guys.
If I'm not going in there, I'm probably going to the other place.
He thought he was going down there.
And I started yelling out, and I'm not a real Bible thumper, but I go, I can't be going the other place. I believe in Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. And he said I wouldn't go to the other place if I believed in him. And all of a sudden a big kind voice said, no, my child, you're not finished. And so I was still looking at my daughter who was inside the gate,
right,
walking by. People had greeted her.
Right.
And she was holding hands with a real radiant person that I couldn't make out who they were, but a real radiant person. And I said, come on back, Cary, you can come back with me. You can make that choice. And she goes, no, I can't, Daddy. I'm supposed to be here. And I'm with my homeboy. She always called Jesus her homeboy.
Jesus is my homie for you Coolest fans. I love that so much.
And so as I said, okay. But two people had greeted her I didn't know who they were.
Mm-hmm.
And after I got back, I told my wife all about it, and I described them to her, and she started crying. And I said, "What's with this?" And she said, "Well, you're describing my grandparents,
Wow.
who were dead 15 years before my wife and I married.
Wow. So you never even
I never met them. I never saw a picture of them."
Wow.
And I said, and it was weird. It was like she was really short, and the guy was real tall. And when he waved like this, like that sign when you're entering or leaving Texas. You know,
Oh,
said,
yeah,
"Y'all
yeah.
come back, you hear?"
Yeah.
And
And you told her that detail?
yeah.
Okay.
And she told me later that she said, "That's when my grandfather always waved
Wow.
when they were greeting them in their home in Maine." And
Wow.
so,
Goosebumps, guys. Okay.
and so I said, you know, that's what I told her after. But what happened then is after I said, "Okay, come on back," and she said, "No, I can't. I'm supposed to be here."
With her
I
homeboy.
said, yeah, with her homeboy. I said, "Okay," and I turned around, and all of a sudden I was back here, and I had some pain then.
Okay. So
And-
out of shock and in pain. The pain had registered
Yeah.
to your body from the car accident.
Mhm.
Were you still in the car?
No, they had
Okay.
taken me out of the car.
Okay. So all of
And-
this happening, you have no recollection of being transported from the car, extracted, jaws of life, any of that?
Actually, there's no jaws of life. They said I got out of the car, and I was telling them the people, the ambulance people and the EMTs, "Go save my daughter. Go save her."
Okay.
And but I knew she wasn't there.
Yeah.
And so when we got to the hospital, and that's when I told my wife everything that happened, she goes, and the doctors had done everything they could to help her.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Well, I know she's not here. I left her back there."
Right.
So.
Right. And you said something to me which just caught me and gave me more goosebumps as we were finishing up my doctor's appointment so we could get to the good part today, that this has been over a year in the making. You said that your daughter was 19, correct?
Yes.
And she was coming home from FSU college.
Yeah.
Right. And that her girlfriend that was with her told her what?
Well, when they were talking, when they were driving back, about when they died, they wanted what they wanted for their funeral. And she wanted pink balloons and everybody to dress happy, no black.
Guys, it's weird. She may not have understood that she knew, but to some degree, what 19-year-old, as to Dr. Olson's point, is having a conversation about their funeral? It's unimaginable that we're thinking about her death when we're that full of life. So that is very powerful. And she may not have said, "I know I'm dying soon," but that's a conversation that gives me full body goosebumps. How does that make, I mean, when you heard that, how did you feel?
I said, "Well, what 19-year-olds talk about that?"
Exactly. So I just wanted, Dr. Olson has more work to do. I just wanted him to tell his story. This has been such a powerful thing. I don't think it's a coincidence that he shared it with me that day. He had seen me in the hospital, didn't know that I had my very own near-death experience. I mean, he knew clearly that I was in really bad shape. If I was in the rehab that he was rounding in, I was in bad shape. And now he knows my full history and chart and has seen all parts of me. Y'all, this doctor is amazing, and he's definitely brought me back to life. But I'm so grateful. And one of the things I just want to finish with, that you said that you were tasked to come back to tell this story. And
Yes.
You said that you've had patients that have requested what of you that are passed now, but what did they ask you to do at their funerals?
At their funeral, I asked to tell everybody my story so that they know that you have something after life here.
There is something after life. Your loved ones are still with you. Your ancestors are working with you. Like he said, people he never met, he saw, could describe it, and his wife was fully chilled because they were her people. So when you don't understand, and we're talking about that often in our lessons here, it's real. It's so real. It's not a coincidence that God matched me with Dr. Olson, who would take the time to share something so candid. Usually, God does not, usually doctors do not share that kind of thing. So when we had that really special moment, I knew that it was divinely orchestrated. So if you're wondering, if you have anyone that's crossed over, anyone that you love, they are watching over you. They see you. And they also are at peace with their decision to go if it feels premature.
Mhm.
Just like with Miss Cary, his daughter, when she says, Daddy, I can't go back, I gotta stay with my homie. He was very not okay probably leaving her. Actually, in his human body, he was still trying to save her, unbeknownst to himself. You take care of my daughter. But he was handing her off. And what he said that caught me is he said, I walked my daughter essentially down the aisle to heaven, you know, like he will never get to take her to her marriage, but he took her to Jesus.
Yes.
So anyway, guys, that's it. I'll come back and join you guys next time. Thank you, Dr. Olson, so much.
See ya.
We love you guys. Remember, there is life after death, and there is love eternally after that, even more so. Come back and join me next time, and we'll continue to evolve together. Thank you so much, Dr. Olson.
Oh, you're very welcome.
All right, let's see.
So you have a podcast that you do?